Okay, here we go. This is Sandy from Senior Slim Down with Sandy. This is my week 8 update on my Zepbound weight loss journey. Like last week, when I forgot to take my injection on my regular day on Monday, I did remember to take it on Monday this week. This is my seventh injection at 2.5 milligrams. And next week will be my last week on the 2.5 milligram dosage. And then after that, I'm going to go up to 5 milligrams a week. I already got my new quick pen though from my pharmacy, and I got it at the Medicare bridge prices without any issues at all. So this week I lost 2 pounds. So my total weight loss in 8 weeks is 9 pounds. I started at 293 and I currently weigh 284. So my BMI is 48.5, and so far I've lost 3.07% of my body weight. There's a bug on the lens of my camera. Talk about authentic. If you're just interested in how much weight I've lost this week and the effects of Zepbound at 2.5 milligram dosage, you might want to stop watching now. I am going to talk a lot about me and about going to my high school reunion. So if that doesn't interest you, you should go find something else to watch. So Thursday before the reunion, I was running some errands and I went and grabbed some burgers for me and David on the way home. And I'm sitting in the drive-through at the burger restaurant and I hear the Monkees' Daydream Believer playing on the sound system. And it just really hit me, this wave of sort of nostalgia and grief. And, you might wonder why that song from the Monkees would affect me that way, but oh my God, how I loved Davy Jones. I mean, he was the first of my love for shorter, dark haired men, which continues to this day. And I tell you, the day Davy Jones died, I literally sobbed. And like Davy Jones, many of the people that I was closest to in high school have passed away now. But I also landed in a bit of a sweet spot about going to the reunion because my late commitment meant that I didn't end up going with anybody else. I would have liked to have gone with Dave, but that would have been fine. But I ended up having a hotel room to myself. And one of the comments I often make if I go on an all women's trip is when I come back, that was way too much estrogen for me. And as it turned out, almost everyone else who was staying in a hotel in Houston during the reunion stayed at a different hotel. So that worked out for me too. Kind of noisy over there, David. Get you going to the shop or something?
I'm about to come inside.
Okay.
Want to get being very quiet.
Your definition of quiet may not be as quiet as you think. So off I go on Friday afternoon to Houston, and I have made this trip hundreds of times. When I graduated from high school in 1976, I went to the University of Texas. And that was a time when college was a lot more affordable, and a lot of the parents at the high school I went to sent their kids to college just because it was a way to get them out of the house. So when I talk about going to this reunion, I'm talking about seeing people I not only went to elementary school with, but people I went to college with. And then later on, my dad was in the hospital with MD Anderson, and I made the turn and burn lots of times where I would just drive to Houston for the day and turn around and come back. So in a lot of ways, the drive between Austin and Houston and back is very familiar to me, with the exception of now there are a lot of Buc-ee's along the way. So I stayed in Town and Country City Center, which is one of those pedestrian shopping hubs where you have hotels and a big plaza in the middle of it and lots of restaurants. And Town and Country was there when I was in high school, but it looked nothing like it does today. Should I go tell all the neighbors to be quiet? So I was married for about 20 years, and then I was single for about 20 years before I married David. And I've gone on a lot of trips solo. I've gone to California, and I've gone out to Big Bend, and I've gone to Tennessee, and so I don't mind staying in hotels by myself. In fact, I kind of like it, and I've often thought that I could be happy living in a hotel, kind of like Eloise at the Plaza, or maybe more like the Hotel Chelsea. When I went to the University of Texas in 1976, I lived in Dobie Mall. And when Dobie Mall was built in 1972, it was the tallest building in Austin. And I lived on the top floor. And basically, Dobie Mall is like a 27-story skyscraper that sits on top of a little 2-story mall. And I couldn't wait to move out of there. Because who wanted to live in a dorm in Austin, Texas in 1976? And as an aside, you know who lived in Dobie Mall when I lived there? Michael Dell. Huh. But looking back, it was great. It had fantastic food. They would actually fry donuts in front of you in the morning every other day. It had a swimming pool. It was like the senior living retirement apartment building that I will never be able to afford now. Now, to go back to my days at the University of Texas, I did not end up graduating from UT. I think I had 3 majors while I was going to UT. But I did go back to college when my kids were in high school, and I went to St. Edward's University, which is a private college here in Austin. And it's a long story about why this happened, but I ended up getting a degree in computer systems management. Now, other than making a lot of websites over the years, I've never actually had a job in computer systems management. But what it's really great for is when somebody is mansplaining something to me about technology, I look at them over my glasses and I say, I do have a degree in computer systems management. Nonetheless, I can be so clueless when it comes to technology stuff. So I check into the hotel and I get in the elevator to go up to the 5th floor, and the buttons aren't working. And I'm like, is the elevator broken? So I get out of the elevator and I'm kind of standing there, and then somebody gets in the elevator, and so I get in the elevator with him, and he says, "Are you going down?" And I said, "No, it's trying to go up." And I said, "I couldn't get the buttons to work." And he says, "You have to scan your key card to go up above the lobby." Now, there was a card scanner there, but there was really no signage. Maybe the guy at the front desk was supposed to tell me. I don't know. But, like, oh, good. Well, I'm glad somebody got in the elevator, so I know that now. And it was the same thing with this coffee maker in the room. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to use it. And so I had to take a picture of it and upload it to Google and say, Google, tell me how to use this coffee maker. So the reunion was Saturday night, and at our 10-year reunion, which was our first reunion, so the reunion was Saturday night, and at our first reunion, which was our 10-year reunion, it was a 3-day affair. Like by our 50-year reunion, the reunion was at a big restaurant with an outdoor area and a lot of food trucks. We don't have as much energy as we used to, I guess. So my graduating class had 500 people, and there were 150 alumni at this reunion, and then about 50 partners and spouses and friends. And so it was 200 people at this event. And there were 2 organizers for this event, and one of them was a woman who had been on the Westchester drill team, which was known as the Westchester Wranglerettes, which famously performed at the Macy's Day Parade one year. And she did a fantastic job on the food. There was this huge buffet, which apparently included peanut butter cake made from the original recipe that they used to serve in the school cafeteria. And I talked to lots of people, and of course, a lot of these people I had known since I was 9 years old. And I'm looking around, and of course, inside, I feel like I haven't changed at all. I'm like, who are all these old people? And as one of my late friends used to say, don't breathe your own exhaust fumes. But I had 2 women come up to me, not women I had known well in high school, who told me that they were fans of my YouTube channel because I had posted some links on my personal Facebook page. And it was so exciting. I mean, I have never had fans in my entire life. Now, was I the fattest person at the reunion? I was probably pretty up there. Normally, on a vacation trip like this, I would be super focused on what I was going to eat and where were the special restaurants and all that kind of stuff. But, it really wasn't like that. Friday, and I think what was the most remarkable thing about food and this trip out of town was Saturday night before the reunion, we went out to dinner. And then we went to the reunion, and there was this huge spread of food. And I did not eat a single thing. I didn't even go over and look at it. Now, had I known that this famous peanut butter cake was over there, I might have. And while we're sitting there, my friend's husband is eating chocolate chip cookies, and I never went over. And I have to say, that's pretty remarkable for me. And being on Zepbound is the only reason I can think of that happening. So Sunday morning, I check out of the hotel, and I was planning on just driving straight home, but almost of its own accord, the truck turned toward the old neighborhood, which in my case was a townhouse community where me and these friends that I grew up with lived. And then I drove by the high school. And there's a lot of memories there, and some are good and some are bad. And again, one of the things that's really interesting about being on Zepbound is how it does help with the mental chatter. And of course, I had to make the obligatory stop at Bucky's on the way home. I think one thing that helps when you get older is you always need something to look forward to. And now that the reunion is over, even though I originally dreaded it, the next thing I have to look forward to is that my granddaughter is going to be here in the middle of September for her first birthday, and I am so excited about it. I hope you have fun things to look forward to as well, whether it involves Zepbound and weight loss or just getting through life in general. See you later.